page 371 if you'd like to join us. Ani Ma'amin, Ani Ma'amin, Ani HaMashiach, ani ma'amin beviat HaMashiach, beviat HaMashiach, ani ma'amin, ani ma'amin, ani ma'amin, ani
So beautiful to be here, to see you all, to be in the same time zone. Bridging from that beautiful reflective melody, I open with a reading in acknowledgement of Yom HaShoah, which concluded yesterday. We begin with silence, the silence of death, the silence after destruction. There are times when songs falter, when darkness fills life, when martyrdom becomes a constellation of faith against the unrelieved black of space about us. There are no words to reach beyond the edge of night, no messenger to tell the full tale. There is only silence, the silence of Job, the silence of the 6 million, the silence of memory. Let us remember them as we link our silences. And in one moment, I will kindle these lights in memory of the 6 million Jews murdered by the Nazis and their collaborators. May the memory of the righteous be for a blessing. Zichronam livracha. Now bridging from reflection and sadness to the joy of Shabbat, to the joy of wonderful life cycles. It's all entwined. It is my honor to call the Rosenzweigs up to the virtual bima for candlelighting in honor of Elliot's birthday this week. Happy birthday, Elliot.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'echad likner shel Shabbat. Amen.
Amen, amen, amen. Mazel tov, you bringers of light. We continue on page 12, Lechu Neranana.
Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzori, sheinu, nekadma fanav betoda. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, bizmirod naria lo. Lechon neranena, lechon neranena, lechon neranena, l'Adonai. Lechon neranena, lechon neranena, lechon neranena, l'Adonai. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai barechu shemo, aslu miyom liyom yeshuato, sapru v'goyim kevodo, v'chol amim niflotav, ki gadol Adonai u'chulav meod, norahu al kol Elohim, ki kol Elohei ha'amim elilim, v'Adonai shamayim asa, hod v'hadar lefanav, עוז ותפארת במקדשו. ישמחו השמיים,
Bottom of 13.
ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ. יירם הים, יירם הים, יירם הים כולו. יירם הים, יירם הים, יירם הים כולו. יירם הים, יירם הים, יירם הים כולו. יירם הים, יירם הים, יירם הים ומלואו. יעלון שדה וכל אשר בו, אז ירננו כל הצייל. לפני אדוני קיווה לשפוט הארץ. ישפוט תבל בצדק, וימים באמונתו.
16.
אדוני מלאך אל הארץ, ישמחו יהים רבים. המלך סביביו צדק משפט מכל כיסו. אוהבי אדוני עשי נאורה. שומר נפשות חסידיו, מיד רשעים יצילם. Third paragraph at the bottom of the page. Or zarua latzadik uyishrelev simcha.
I lied 114.
Or zarua latzadik uyishrelev simcha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, b'Adonai, ve'hodu lezecher kodesho, lezecher kodesho. Or zarua latzadik uyishrelev simcha. Or zarua latzadik uyishrelev simcha. At the top of page 16, we continue with the second half of Psalm 98 as we offer praise with the lyre and melodious song. Zamru l'Adonai bechino, bechino, v'kol zimra. 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 נפמרון kiva lishbot haaretz, yishbot tevel b'tzedek, ve'yamim b'yemei sharim.
Page 17.
Adonai malach yirgezu amim, yoshev keruvim tanud haaretz. Adonai b'tzion gadol v'ramchu al kol ha'amim. Yodu shimcha gadol v'nora kadosh hu, ve'oz melech mishpat shmeim. Ata kanim l'chad asheram. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו, והשתחוו לך על קודשו, כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו.
it's so much more fun to be on the Bima than to be recording sermons in advance. What a joy. We've reached Lecha Dodi. We're on page 20, getting ready to take a breath and let go of anything from this past week you want to release, and breathe in some sweet, expansive air of Shabbat. Sending love out to those on the screen, maybe someone sitting next to you, someone far away, as we get ready to welcome the Shabbat bride.
Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'tiporecha Yishem yanu Ham Yochad Adonai Echad U'Shemo Echad V'Shemo Tiferet V'Litila Lecha Dodi Likrat Yalalai 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 B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Yalalai 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 B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'nelcha Ki mekor ha'beracha Berosh mikedem nezucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila Lecha dodi likrat yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5
Verse 5.
Hitoreri Iva orech kumi yohori Uri yori shindaberi Kevod Adonai alai nila Lecha dodi likrat yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Rise if you're able.
Shalom Ateret
Facing the
bala
door of your home.
Gam besimcha ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי כלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללי 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 בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללי 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 בני שבת נקבלה
Page 22.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות להגיד הבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. At the indented part of the page, Sadikata
Welcoming in those Shabbat angels. We're on page 24, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Yom, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boechem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Yitadal v'yitada shemei Rabbah Be'almadi v'rakirutei v'amnich malchutei B'chayeichon u'vyomeichon u'chayidechol Beit Yisrael B'gala u'bizman kaharim V'imenu Amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach Le'olam u'lam me'al maya וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה, ויתהלל, שמי דקדושה, בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה, ושיבירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה, ואמרו
Rising in body or spirit, we've reached the Baruch Hu 28.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. Continue on page 30 as we welcome the transition from day into night.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time, and changes the seasons, arranging the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness, and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב הערבי. On page 32, we acknowledge God's everlasting love for us. אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אתה, תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו ושוכבנו ובחומנו נשיח בחוקך ונשמח בדברי תורתך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kol Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated. We're on 36, the Via Hafta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Joining together on 39, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, and that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Page 40.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל, לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ויאמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי אמנו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, יפדה אדוני את יעקב, וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
And as we turn to page 42 for Hashkivenu, our prayer of nighttime protection, an especially heartfelt thank you to all of you who have been just a shelter and a support, a shelter of love for us Feldmans, especially in recent days.
Let us, with our words, continue to add the support structures to that Sukkot Shalom that the Eternal provides for us and for those who are ill, let us raise our arms in prayer and song to help create that structure. Hashkifeinu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom V'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim Hashkifeinu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom V'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim Ufros aleinu Sukat shlomecha Ufros aleinu Sukat shlomecha Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us from all the things that make us fear and give us pause. Baruch atah Adonai Haporei Sukat Shalom Aleinu Ve'al kol amo Yisrael Ve'al Yerushalayim.
The Shamru is on 44. Rising in body or spirit for our Amidah 46.
That my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אל עליון גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. Page 50. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו משני עבר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדור המלך, מלך נמיר ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך הקדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Continuing on our own with a few moments of private meditation, the words on the page, the blessings within our hearts.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech hador lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech hador lechol hashalom. V'tov b'neicha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל
Moving now to our Misha Berach prayer and our hearts turning to those in need of healing. Feel free to add those names in the chat. course, in the privacy of your own heart as we lift up our prayers for healing. We're on page 253.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So, we're 2 weeks out from Meir's heart valve replacement surgery, and he's doing incredibly well. Of course, it's a process, it's a journey. And tonight I'll be reflecting upon that healing process to frame my words. So oftentimes in recent days, when I see Meir sitting maybe on the back porch or on the couch, watching TV, studying a Jewish text, yes, he still does that, at the kitchen table, I'll notice that he'll have his hand resting gently on his heart, or perhaps more accurately, resting on his shirt, just on top of that scar. The first time I noticed it, I looked at him curiously, and he shrugged. I don't want to ignore this wound, he said. I have to acknowledge that it's there. I need to develop a relationship with it, a loving relationship. It's part of me now. So tonight I will speak about scars, the scars we all have in our bodies and minds. Scars mark the geographic landscape of our nation and our communities and act as punctuation marks in the very history and psyche of the Jewish people. But before we get to the realm of metaphoric scars, let's start with the most obvious. The scars on our physical selves. They tell our history, right? That time you fell off your bike as a kid, or that surgery, years ago now, but the mark is still there. Whenever my son Gabi gets a really short haircut, I can see that spot there on the back of his head where the hair never grows, and I remember the fall. It was preceded by a jumping game between twin beds, and then the iron frame of that bed. And there's this one on my hand. Yeah, I was a second-year rabbinical student. And then this other one, I got that one in Leningrad. Visible scars tell at least parts of our history. Scars can also be internal to the body. Only we feel them. A stiffness when the weather changes, that little ache, undetected by the outside world, but we know it's there. For the purposes of my Devar Torah tonight, I now invite you to consider a personal scar, maybe physical, maybe emotional, large or small. Summon the awareness of that mark and whatever it symbolizes to you. Don't worry, you don't have to put it in the Zoom chat. We won't be sharing anything out loud. Just Bear it in mind as a point of reference. So again, why scars this week? As I said, there's the matter of your senior rabbi and my life partner with his heart surgery. But there is a calendrical context as well. The scars that our Jewish calendar reflects, as this past Wednesday evening we ushered in Yom HaShoah, commemorating the near genocide of our people. And as if that was not enough, in our annual Torah reading cycle, it's Parashat Shemini, in which Aaron's sons Nadav and Avihu are annihilated, incinerated, in one fell swoop. And Aaron, their father, is silent, scarred for life. And moving away from the Jewish calendar, there is always current events, headlines themselves, gashes to the soul, mass shootings, the sexual immorality of elected leaders, the rolling back of voting rights, COVID death spikes. When it comes to wounds that are perhaps not even yet scars, the daily news provides ample supply. But we know before a wound is healed, before there is a scar, it's simply too tender, too painful to touch. That is my experience as our nation witnesses the trial of Derek Chauvin and revisits again and again each excruciating second of George Floyd's murder. Much to Mayor's understandable consternation, with every testimony, I come to a point where I have to mute the TV. It's just too painful. I don't have a scar yet. So whether we are thinking of recent surgeries, our Jewish calendar, or the weekly news, wounds, and more specifically scars, are our subject tonight. Have you ever noticed that even trees have scars? When some part of the bark or pulp of a tree is compromised, maybe by decay or by insects or by a blow, the tree builds a barrier zone to compartmentalize the injured tree tissue and seals the wound, allowing new, uncontaminated, healthy wood to grow over and beyond the wound. And we, as human beings, do the same. We protect the space in which the injury or trauma occurred, and we move forward. Well, thank God for scars. I mean, without them, wounds would remain forever open. They would become infected. We'd bleed to death. I think that in part, this gesture of Mayor taking his hand and placing it on his heart is an honoring not only of the surgeon's hands, the life-saving power of modern medicine, but it's also in deference to the miraculous wisdom and regenerative capacity of the human body. Maybe you're not so pretty, Scar, but thanks. But as we also know, our physical and psychic instincts, while essential and often life-preserving, also sometimes have to be balanced and mitigated, right? That's the whole point of this period in the Jewish calendar of Omer counting. It's all about balance. So while we need the toughness, both psychic and physical, to make it in this world, we need those scars. What happens if there's too much of it? We know that scar tissue can become numb and stiff, and our physical function reduced by the rigidity of a scar if there's too much of it. So my question for tonight, whether we're talking surgical recovery, the Jewish calendar and its memorial days, or the nightly news, or maybe just that personal scar that you're thinking of, is how can we honor our scars, the protection and the safety they afford, without succumbing to the rigidity and numbness of scars? How do we engage with our past wounds to promote maximal physical and psychic spiritual health? I believe Jewish tradition provides a beautiful answer to this question. Judaism teaches, even mandates, that you have to acknowledge your scars. because these mark the essential stories of our lives. We have to go there, maybe not all the time, but regularly. Back to our Jewish calendar, annually, Yom HaShoah opens the door to touch that place of among our people's deepest wounds. Sometimes the journey is that of ritual and ceremony, as we so beautifully shared with Temple Israel last night. And sometimes the pilgrimage to the site of that scar is geographic. I'll never forget the trip that I took some 30 years ago to Lithuania as a youth educator. I will never forget standing in the woods of Pinar, just outside of Vilnius, in the snow, past the railroad tracks, there with American teens interfacing with Lithuanian youth. We held hands around that massive snow-covered crater, an opening in the forest into which the bodies of scholars and children and activists and grandparents were shot. And we sang and we wept. Neither will I forget the pilgrimage that I took to Warsaw, to the orphanage of Janusz Korczak, who, rather than deserting the children in his care, chose to accompany them to the gas chamber. It was spring when I traveled to Poland with a group of Jewish educators from all over the world, and as we sat in the sunlit courtyard of that orphanage and told the story, thousands of little pollen spores floated in the warm morning air like the souls of the departed children. Journeys to those sites changed me forever. Sometimes you just have to go back to the scar where it all happened. Having just completed Passover, the second of our 3 pilgrimage holidays, we reflect on the necessity of going there, schlepping, making that pilgrimage, touching the place. What is Jerusalem if not a city of wounds, visited by pilgrims for millennia? But the return to the scene of the crime, the place of the trauma, is obviously not just geographic. We visit our scars in other ways. Every time we come together for prayer and sing Mi Chamocha, we're getting out of Egypt, re-experiencing the plagues. Every time we say the weekday Amidah, we acknowledge the reality of evil and of those who have sought to destroy us. Every time we roll around to this week's Parsha, we have to say goodbye again to Nadav and Avihu. Every time we say Kaddish, every Yom HaShoah. And so back to the question, how do we engage our scars to promote physical and spiritual health and strength? How do we touch the pain without being subsumed by it? As we have just explored, the first answer is that Judaism says you can't escape your scar. You have to tell the story. You have to go back. But that's just the first component of the Jewish RX, the Jewish remedy for healing. I want to take you back to Vilnius for a moment, to that youth trip of mine. So there we were, standing in the snow around that crater in the woods, holding hands, singing. It really was like Schindler's List, everything gray. There were even a few German shepherds barking in the distance. And all of a sudden, I opened my eyes, and one of the teens that I was traveling with released her hands from the grip of the people standing on either side of her and fell and rolled into the pit. I didn't know what to do. And then the student next to her, without saying anything, did the same thing. And then the next, and the next, and the next, until everyone on that sacred mission was there in the crater, a grave. I honestly, it was one of those moments as a teacher when I didn't know what to do. And I don't remember exactly what I did, but I do remember that one by one, the teens came out. They didn't stay there. Yes, Jewish tradition mandates to light Yizkor, to revisit Yom HaShoah, to stand for Kaddish, to go to Warsaw, to go to Panar. But, teaches Judaism, don't stay. While I am no physical therapist, although I've seen a few, I know that there are methods for working with old wounds, for loosening and stretching scar tissue, working with it so it won't become constrictive to movement and reduce the patient's quality of life. I think Jewish tradition would agree with the physical therapist that our spirits should not be constricted by our scars. Last week, Rabbi Michael Lezak enjoined us to go to Montgomery, Alabama, to stand before the monument to those 4,400 victims of lynching, to witness the scar, not only from the whip on the back of the statue of that slave, but on our nation's history and our present. And then Rabbi Lezak charged us, after visiting Montgomery, to walk away with a calling, knowing that we can take steps to begin to heal the scourge of racial injustice in our nation. You know, in Israel on Yom HaShoah, when that siren goes off at 10 a.m. and everything stops, on the highway, in the coffee shop, in the school, and people stand for 2 minutes frozen, it's chilling. And then it stops and people go back about their day. Past and future, regret and promise are intertwined. That's why next week's observance of Yom HaZikaron, the Memorial Day for Fallen Soldiers, will flow seamlessly into Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's Independence Day. As Jews, we visit our wounds, and then we move forward into life. I want you to go back and think about that scar, the one you summoned in the beginning. Jewish time is indeed cyclical, over and over again, yit kadal. Religiously, we revisit our wounds and losses, v'yit kadash. But Jewish time, Jewish life mandates that we not let our scars define us, but instead, we use them to grow. Before I close with this brief story, I'll share with you that the surgeon told us that Meir is presently getting 4 times the amount of oxygenated body flowing to his body than he did before the surgery, 4 times the amount of oxygenated blood. Our scars can be teachers. So here's the story. On Erev Yom HaShoah this past Wednesday evening, I saw an interview, a news clip, with a young German woman, Shauna Wither. As a child, Shauna learned that her grandfather had served as an SS officer during the Nazi regime. At first, Shauna said that she tried just not to think about it, and instead to focus on her father's side of the family, which was Scottish. But she said in the interview, quote, "I was running away from my family's past, and it didn't change anything. The trauma was still there," unquote. So she stopped running and joined an organization called March of Life for descendants of Nazis. Through this organization, young people go on marches throughout Europe and educate about anti-Semitism. During the interview, I saw Shauna Wither with the support of the March of Life. I saw that she was in Tel Aviv, from where she was doing the interview. "You see," she said, "I came to Israel on a tshuva mission," she didn't use that word, "to volunteer at a special needs school. It's a huge privilege," she said. So there she was, this German young woman, grandchild of an SS officer. "I learn a lot from these kids," she said. Shauna has visited the scar in her family's history and is transforming its meaning. So, how perfect it is if we look over at those Yom HaShoah candles, lights of memory, They stand right next to our Shabbat candles, flames that celebrate the power and beauty of the present moment. That's Shabbat and the beautiful 24 hours ahead. As we consider our own wounds, the scars on our families, our communities, our bodies, our nation, and the Jewish people, let us take the wisdom of our tradition. May we be granted the honesty and fortitude to honor and even illuminate the scars of our past and the essential stories they tell. But even more important, may we have the courage and vision to use those stories to transform our future. May it be bright. Ken Yehי Ratzon. We rise now for Aleinu 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדול ויוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל העולם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, היום
Before we offer Kaddish, there will be a musical rendering of that sacred prayer in deference to Yom HaShoah. You remain standing or seated, whatever is possible or comfortable for you.
Kadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma Divera Chirutei Ve'amrich Malchutei Ya la la וחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה לעולם ועולם וישתבח, ויפר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל, ויתלש מידי קודשה בריחו. Mihin Shemaya V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav Yosai shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru
And now, inviting anyone who has a name you would like to add for Kaddish to please do so. As I offer these names, feel free to rise if there's one you're remembering. This week marks the passing of Ethan Sisser, beloved brother of Stan Levine. And in the past 30 days, we mark the passing of Ingrid Hecker, Salvador Levy, and Ethel Pomerantz. And the Yortzites this week for Ann Coopersmith, David Chodosh, Leon Dobbin, Adrian Goldberg, Louis A. Kahn, Doris Kestner, Herbert Hirsch Lyman, Sarah Penner, Edith Prenelek, Charlie Ross, David Sokol, Ruth Walken, Bruce Weinberg, and all those other beloved names mentioned in our hearts and in this Zoom chat. If it is your custom to rise, please do so. We're on 294. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי. בחי אחון וביום אחון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן ביעלמה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to all of us, to all humanity, to all Israel. We say one last time, Amen. Okay, you may be seated. Announcements, boy, There's a lot of announcements. It's daunting. So, but that's a great thing. Our virtual Oneg after services will be hosted by Linda Diamond. Thank you, Linda. Just stay on this call and you'll be brought in. Be sure to check the new Zoom links for upcoming Torah study and Shabbat morning service and Havdalah, new Zoom links. Modi Moments, we're getting some pictures, but we could do even better. So the next one will be May 7th. Send in your pictures of your mom or grandmother or some other important woman in your life, and we'll share them in our Modi Moment slideshow. This Sunday, 10 a.m., Peter Geffen will be speaking about the Moroccan exception.
The Moroccan exception.
The Moroccan exception.
Convivencia.
Did I do that right?
Yeah, that was perfect.
So as we continue our Torah celebration project, please join us for this incredibly, I'm sure it will be a very dynamic morning. Thursday the 15th, Brotherhood monthly meeting, 7 p.m. Next Friday, an in-person service for those who wish. It'll also be Zoom, but sign up if you'd like to be present. Of course, all safety protocols will be in place, but we'd love to see you for real in person. Sunday, April 18th, Rabbinic Dialogue, 10 a.m. Please plan to come. It will be virtual. 7 p.m. next Sunday night, Zen Tangles and Zinfandel. Sounds like my kind of an event. Sponsored by our adult B'nai Mitzvah class. We're in the countdown mode to their wonderful Simcha, so please join them, 7 p.m. Thursday, April 22nd, Global Jewish Grooves, Music of Morocco. Thank you, Cantor.
Also part of our Torah celebration project.
Awesome. And I know it's a lot. I'll only do a few more. Saturday, April 24th, if you want to plan in advance, 7 p.m., Songs of Hope and Healing and Love. Those healing services are always a balm to the spirit. We'll do that. And Sunday, April 25th, very important. We know there have been incidents of anti-Asian hatred and violence. There will be a rally for unity and love, United Against Hate, a day of solidarity. It begins at 12:30 at Firefighters Park. A rally organized by the Great Neck Chinese Association. So very important to show up for that. Reminding everybody that if you are not well or you know of someone who's suffering, tell us. We're pretty good at many moments, but we are not telepathic as clergy.
Oh, we cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. We cannot hear anybody. If anyone can hear, we cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. We cannot hear you guys. We cannot hear you.
Hello, everyone. We know that you can't hear us. Our sound system conked out, so I don't know where you left off. Tara, you got muted. Yeah, our computer system crashed, the one that's hosting the Zoom, and so the sound is no longer coming into the computer. So I'm just going to repeat the announcement that I made to stall for some time, which is that the event on the 24th, April 24th, Songs of Hope, Healing, and Love, is going to be a great Havdalah concert event that we're sharing with 5 congregations across the continent. It's going to be really exciting and fun and optimistic, and I hope you all can join us for that. And also, I want to make sure that my wishes for a very, very happy birthday go out to my dad. Happy birthday, Dad. I love you. And with that, we're going to turn to Kiddush and Hamotzi. I will begin our Kiddush, which, if you want to follow along, is found on page 4. Vayehi erev vayivoker יום, ויהי ערב ויבוקר יום השישי, ויחולו השמיים והארץ, וכל צבאם, ויכול אלוהים ביום השביעי, מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי, מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. סברי, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. חיים. I don't see them. They're there. I have to
Hello,
Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Thank you. Yay!
and a happy birthday to you. All right. With that exciting ending, we'll conclude with Adon Olam on page 321. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra yed nasa b'chefto kol azay melech shemo nikra v'yacharei kitvot hakol levano yimloch nara v'hu haya v'hu toher v'hu yihye b'tifara v'hu echad v'ein sheni lehamshich lo le'achbira v'li reshit v'li tachlit Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Hi, did you want to unmute us? Hello.
Hello.
Did you want us
Shabbat
to say another
shalom.
Shabbat Shalom?
Dorit, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Well, that was wonderful.
Yes.
But I thought, actually, I thought for Yom HaShoah, this is the Yom HaShoah that coincides with the Friday service. Hi, Karen. I
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
thought
Hi,
that
Shabbat shalom. They had a special last evening for remembering the day. It was
Right.
Dorit, it was a combination between
I-
Temple Israel and us.
there was a link. I was doing something else.
Okay, so that they did it on the specific day, as they did with a lot of synagogues.
I see. How was it? How was the program?
I was on another one.
You were somewhere else. So
I
this
was on one from my synagogue upstate.
so this was a combination of Beth-El and
In Temple Israel, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's hard to clone yourself.
what did they do? They had people speaking.
yes, I guess they did.
Bill.
There was,
Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. I may turn off the light.
How are you doing? What is it? The glare is hard on your eyes?
The glaucoma bit.
I know.
Mhm.
Make it up.
So, but I had a very good report from my surgeon today, that the new meds are working very well.
Oh,
But
Oh,
too
good.
much light, so I'm here. Thank you, Linda, for hosting. I'm here.
oh, I made a new biscotti, espresso. You want-
Oh my, are you upstate? You mean,
Yes, I'm
we have
upstate.
to travel upstate. What is your congregation upstate, by the way?
It's Temple Israel of Catskill, but I do, most of the time I Zoom with Beth-El.
Yeah.
But there was just something last night that I got onto to their link. It's a very small congregation,
Are
but
you in?
it's a growing congregation as compared to other congregations.
Is it actually the town of Catskill or a different?
Yes, it
town?
actually is. It's
Okay.
just if you're familiar with the Rip Van Winkle Bridge, it's just coming from Hudson. It's just over the Rip Van Winkle Bridge, and there's the synagogue near the
I
first
got
one.
it. Yep. Grant and I have to get up to Lee Lennox and Shakespeare maybe by June for his birthday.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
I'm ready. So if you're up there, because we come up that way via the slow, beautiful route.
Okay, you're more than
So
welcome.
we'll
On the
take it
other
up
s-
lunch.
I'm on the other side of the river from.
I know,
we're-
we like to go up that way sometimes.
Good. You're more than welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a beautiful day. It was 10 degrees warmer up here than downstate, which was amazing. It's usually the reverse.
So
Yep.
you're up in the country now?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. But next week I'm going to stay home and I'm going to go to the real service.
Ah,
Oh, great. Wonderful.
Yeah. So if anybody comes, you're going to get a real owner. Not that we're going to meet in a room, but as you leave, you'll get a little bag of homemade goodies.
Wow. It's exciting. That's exciting.
So it's incentive. Hello, Elaine.
where is she?
She's mute right now. She just sat down.
Mm-hmm.
So it was so nice to
So
have
good to see
Tara.
Rabbi Tara. Yeah,
Okay, now there's somebody here who I can't see who it is. On my screen is yes, what's your name?
Claire,
Claire.
Oh,
Yeah.
hi, Claire. Hi.
Claire Rivers.
Hi.
Claire,
I'm
okay.
glad that you joined us.
Well, I tried often, but sometimes I have a problem with the Zoom. I
That's-
don't like the Zoom.
Yeah, well, that's the way it is with the Zoom. Sometimes it's frustrating.
Yes.
How about last week when I was supposed to host, remember?
Oh my goodness. Well, then I was able to get on. I got on my phone. I wasn't sure I'd be able to, but it worked out because you had your phone call and so
California,
it
yes,
was fine.
yes. And tonight it worked. It happened to Tara as she was speaking.
Yes. So,
guess-
the Zoom isn't perfect.
No,
But I had a Zoom book club meeting the other night where there was a flower that was covering the whole screen and
Yeah.
we couldn't see who was there. It was very frustrating.
what book did you do?
We did The Four Winds by
Was it
Hannah
good?
Christie. It
Good
was
book?
very good. I thought it was very good.
I have to promote Hamnet,
Oh,
the most
doing it?
magnificently written book I have read in
What book is that?
who is it?
Hamnet.
Karen, is that you, Karen?
That's me, Karen.
Well, I read that book last,
What
from
is
the last book
the
group.
name
Huh?
again?
It just to me was so magnificently powerfully written. How
Which
she
one are
made
you talking? I didn't hear what you said.
What book?
Hamnet, Hamnet, which is the alternate name of Shakespeare's son, Hamlet.
Oh.
So it's Hamnet, N-E-T?
Hamnet. It's his other actual name registered in the birth records in Stratford.
Hammett?
Uh-huh.
Hamnet, Hamnet. Yeah, and it's Maggie O'Farrell, I think, the author.
Uh-huh.
I thought she was rather presumptuous at first to take on the subject and actually try and write from the perspective of the bard, no less his wife and children themselves. But this book reverberates within me. Her language, her writing is, to me, she made the mundane sacred.
Well, that sounds like quite a
And she was so prescient because the book was published very early 2020,
uh-huh.
and it's set in 1586, I believe, when
Yeah.
the plague decimates
No.
Europe. And I'm sitting there reading this and going, oh my Lord, here we are. But it's so magnificently written.
I have a question. Did
Yes.
anybody have a problem when they were trying to type into the chat?
Yeah.
I found that then a message came through. It wasn't what I had written, but I wondered if anyone else had trouble sending their message in chat.
No.
No,
No,
What
but you do have to be
something-
careful, Dorit.
what you said went into it? Is that what you're telling me? So when you typed it in, it came out something else?
Well, then it came out Shabbat Shalom, with, to everyone from me,
Yes.
my name. But I was trying to type in to Rabbi Meir, a complete
Yes.
summary. And for some reason, my keyboard wasn't connecting to the what do you call it? The message.
To the chat bar.
Yeah, right, the chat box.
Now, had you did you send a Shabbat Shalom earlier?
No, I didn't. I did not.
No.
Maybe you forgot to hit the send button
No, it didn't type.
But you know what, in the
letter
end, Doreen,
come
it's,
in.
don't sweat the text
the-
stuff.
The
Every
one
week-
thing I could think of is that you didn't put your, whatchamacallit, your pointer, there wasn't the line near
I've
where
done
you
it
typed.
before. I mean, I've never had a problem. I don't know what would cause it. If I want to ask the temple, who do I ask to speak to?
Doreen,
Oh,
do you
you can-
practice with your young
Right.
grandchildren?
Um,
It's the best training.
No. I have sent in chats, but today it didn't interface. Then something came up. It
Then
wasn't-
don't sweat the small stuff. There's always going to be some glitch somewhere with someone with Zoom. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Well,
But
I got a message in, but that's okay. It wasn't what I wrote, but it was a good one.
As long as it didn't end up a curse.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I know, that's always the case.
Sometimes when you dictate into, whether it be the chat box or if you're sending a text, you have to be so careful because crazy words come up.
Yeah, the
necessarily that you-
autocorrect can be a disaster.
Yes.
But
I
at
think
least
I'll
they
say
haven't
goodnight.
gotten Zoom bombed.
People, I'm going to say goodnight.
Okay, well, thank you for coming and
Right.
come
Oh,
again.
are you kidding?
Bye.
Thank you, Claire.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye,
Stay
Claire.
healthy.
Have a
Stay
wonderful week.
healthy.
You
You
too,
too.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So Linda,
How
what
do
did you
I
think
get out
of,
this?
what did you think of Tara's,
Oh, it was beautiful.
Wasn't
It
it?
was
Yeah.
so beautiful,
Yeah.
so meaningful.
I thought it was very good too. I mean, the idea of the scar that stretches.
I just like the way she can speak. It's very
The
calm.
presentation,
Very
Yes.
good, very
Yes.
good.
presentation is a wonderful.
Yes,
Yeah.
it really is.
She's getting wiser and wiser.
Yes, definitely. I agree with
So
you.
she's always been a wonderful speaker and presenter.
Yes, but with
And-
greater
but yeah,
as time goes along.
right. And her intellect has always been very keen. But
Yes.
there's a profound depth now.
Yeah.
I think informed by her experiences.
Yeah, her face looked so calm. I mean,
She's beautiful. She's so beautiful.
Yes, yes.
but
Yeah.
beyond that, I mean, the thing is her expression. It's like someone who's come through a storm. My
She has.
heart's-
has.
I mean, that part of his life actually went beautifully. That did not do him in. It was very good. But, those are long operations.
And how?
So it's a life-altering experience for
Yes.
everybody,
Did you see the email picture of him sitting in his chair?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. With the hat.
Yeah.
So he seems comfortable. That's the good news.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And
It
I'm
just
sure
takes
she's a very good caregiver. I'm sure she's wonderful.
Very much so. Very
Yes.
loving and caring. He's very fortunate.
time and patience.
But see, what I'm surprised about is with them loving the synagogue and having a beautiful home right there. They just come through the gate and there they are.
Right.
To give that up and go to Israel, it really surprises me.
But they are wedded to the idea that the Israel experience, especially with the Hartman Institute, is a big part of their psyche. I mean,
Yeah.
I think Great Neck is not close enough to the source. I mean, I know Tara, she likes to analyze the Hebrew language from old documents and the streets, and she's really interested in the broader aspect. And I think being in Great Neck isn't what her dream was. So I think
Well, the fact that their son is there is a big thing to do with it too. That's a very big, that he went there first and
Yeah.
stayed there by himself all this
She was
time.
very eager to have him be educated there, and
Yeah.
Nina too. I think she was not happy with the, the American Jewish experience in the.
I think it was Gavi. I don't think they would have pushed it at that
I
young
don't
age.
either. I don't either.
If
I
it was
don't-
Mugabe.
They lived there before. They lived there, I think, for 10 years.
Yeah, but their whole life was different. They raised it, they have family here, their parents.
Claire, are you having trouble getting off,
Where there's
dear?
a box on the right? A box
Are
on the
you
right?
on an
Oh,
i-
yeah, leave, wait. It has
Yeah,
to come
hit
back.
leave.
Where is leave again?
It's a red button.
It's
A red button.
red button. Not, this is a new computer. I can't find anything.
How to leave? It's in a little box at the bottom.
Okay, I'm just gonna shut it down. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Okay.
I have a question. Does anybody know how long ago Mayer knew that he was headed for heart surgery? Because
Well, it was over a period of 15 years that they were watching.
so he indicated. So but the acuteness
And
of it.
the past few months is when
So I think that definitely, even more than Gavi, hastened the if not now, when.
that's just up for speculation. I'm not sure.
I think the doctor says, look, I think now's the time to do it. Because as
I meant in terms of moving to Israel.
he's getting 4 times more oxygen, I mean, the cardiac doctors know.
I was addressing Phil's question as the surprise that they would give up greatness for Israel. That I
I think
think
there's a lot
his
that goes
brush-
into it more
yes,
than we are aware of.
far
So-
more. But that was one of the questions. If he knew for the past 15 years that he's been living.
No, there's something that they were watching. People
Right.
can go on for many more years without needing surgery.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
on
it's
some
with the
level,
chain.
that's vital information in terms of life planning. And when the acuteness of the situation manifested, I think that hastened their decision to do this life-changing.
No, I think that decision was made before they knew that he would need surgery.
You do.
Yeah.
You know, what also I think is very brave of them.
They what?
What I think is very brave of them is that they're giving up a very highly esteemed position in a highly esteemed Reform community, and going to Israel, where the Reform rabbis are still second-class citizens.
I
That's
think
true.
I think this is what Phil meant when he said, why would they give it up?
But
This is what he
because
was
that's
asking.
part of their, that is part
Sometimes
of
there's
their,
more important things
I
to
think that
people.
is part of their call, to be progressive Reform rabbis and be that kind of presence in the Jewish homeland.
Yeah, besides, look, Mayor is going to be 60, or I think his birthday is coming up.
He was 60.
He is
Yeah, his
He's
last
past
birthday.
now.
now, okay.
Mhm.
If you're going to do it, do it while you still have the energy to be influential, because the Hartman Institute is a very important part of their, their psychology, the progressive Judaism. I think and Tara certainly, the role of women. And I think they want their kids raised there. I think they think the Israeli, psyche is something that they are very connected to. Well,
It's a
Well,
big move.
that would have to be it, actually. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if they had to drive 45 minutes to get to the temple every day and lived in a rundown apartment building, I could understand wanting to go somewhere that they would feel better. But they live in a beautiful home in a beautiful community.
yeah, but They're spiritual leaders. And they're beautiful.
Yes.
You know,
I think what you're saying is you're gonna miss them.
Oh,
Right, Phil?
definitely. Oh my
That's what you're
God.
saying. Why are they going when I'm gonna miss them?
I feel terrible. I still can't get over the fact that they
They all
won't be
feel
able-
terrible.
But you have more than a year to get accustomed to it.
Right.
So it
Right.
is hard. I mean, you expect them to stay and stay, but that's what life is all about.
Well, I signed up to go to the synagogue next week, you
Oh,
know.
good. So
Oh.
I'll see you. I'm going to go also. I'm going to stay in
Will
Great
he,
Neck.
will he be there? Will he be there? Will he be there?
I think by then he
I
may.
don't know whether he will or
Maybe
not.
he won't run the service, but maybe he will just be there on the
Yeah.
the stage or whatever, just that we all see him and can be a part of each other. I think he will. I
Well,
think
it's a
he will.
possibility.
And
But I
it'll
think
be
he's
it'll
supposed to
be in the big
part in the
sanctuary, right?
rabbi dialogue on that Sunday.
oh,
When
Yeah.
they were who were
Yeah.
going to do it, they said Tara and Mayor.
that is
Right.
Sunday.
But that's virtual.
Virtual, yes.
And I'd
So he
like to
doesn't have-
take Ellen with me to the virtual service if possible. She hasn't answered her phone or the cell again. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure what's going on there, but somebody else had told me that they think that she might be leaving to go to the same facility
Right,
where
where
Ann is.
Ann is.
Ah.
Yeah.
Did I
that's-
hear that from our
Yes, I
meeting
heard
last
it.
week?
I heard it on Oneg Shabbat last week. We were
Yeah.
talking.
I
Yeah.
heard that. So, but I haven't been able to connect with her since. There's no answer of the phone or the cell.
Yeah.
So I put down when I registered that it
Ellen,
would be 2 people in case I can take her.
Okay, well, that's a good idea. That's
Oh,
good.
she deserves to get out and see people, but especially if she's now leaving, it would
Yeah.
also be something important
Right.
for her.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
What are
Okay.
you talking about, Phil?
Wrapping it up.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think so. Well, I'm glad you joined.
It was
And
a beautiful sermon tonight. I was so
yes,
glad.
it was.
It
Oh my God,
was.
that really was. Yes.
Yeah.
really was.
Yes.
Who's gonna be doing the Torah study tomorrow morning?
Oh, that's a good question.
Didn't it say Cantor?
I don't know whether the Cantors had a very busy few
Yes,
weeks.
he
so
has. Yes, he has.
I don't know. We'll have to stay tuned.
That's it. Stay tuned. Okay.
Okay.
Robert Larrick
I
just
don't think
typed
it'll be
something in.
David because he
Wait
didn't
a minute. What does
sing
it say?
last-
Robert Larrick said maybe they'll come back and visit in person or online. Israel and America needs better understanding and security, both, as rest of the world too.
Oh, I saw that.
It
Yes.
says 90 now. Nice being with you all, Bob.
Yes, bye-bye. Take care.
Okay.
Good night, Bob.
Night.
Okay, good
Shalom,
night.
everybody.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
seeing
Shutting
you.
down.